So, what's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name's Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary. Thank you to everybody who's been checking us out on Cinema Crossroads on Spotify, everybody leaving interesting, funny comments under the other movie reviews we've done. And shout out to everybody who made our review of the movie Love by Gaspar Noé the biggest film review we've done on our channel. It's crossed over 1,000 views, still doing numbers. Don't know why, but thanks to everybody for that. I'm here with my beautiful wife, Akti. Say hi, boo.
Hi everyone, I'm Akdeniz and I'm from Turkey, and yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so today we are removing, removing. I wish we could remove it. We
Wow,
are,
your conscience made you say that.
I know, right? We are reviewing the 2024 film, The American Society of Magical Negroes. Acti, yes, you can say the title.
I don't want to. It's my personal preference.
Negroes is not a bad word. I'll never forget. I was teaching English at a middle school one time, and we were reading about American history. And this girl came up to me after class and was like, "Mr. Hill, I don't know if I could say this word." And I'm like, "What word is it?" And she's like, Negroes. I'm like, I'm like, you can say it. Like, Negroes is not offensive. Of course, it depends on how you say it, but I don't know. Why do you feel like it's
Yeah.
offensive?
It's too close, and I don't, I don't know. In my head, it was always like, yeah, no n words here, and so this also feels uncomfortable saying it.
All
I would
right.
rather just say black people.
Okay. Well, if you really get into it on how much you dislike this movie, you can say the American Society of Magical Niggas.
Wow, no, you're silly.
All right. But yeah, this is a 2024 film directed and written by this guy named Kobe Libby. It was produced by Universal. It stars this guy named Justice Smith and David Allen Greer, who is a very famous comedian, and some other unknown actors. But yeah, it's a movie about basically these magical black people who exist in a secret society who live their entire lives to try to make white people comfortable. And we watched it last night, and it was an experience. Oh God! But how did you feel about this film after we watched it?
I was just expecting something else. I
Yeah.
wasn't really expecting like I mean, of course there was going to be social commentary, but I wasn't really expecting that much, I don't know, maybe in your face. But like you, I was expecting more magic, and I thought this was going to be like a, I don't know, like a parody of Harry Potter or something like that. And yeah, it was like, it wasn't bad, but it was just draggy a little bit, like it was dragging the
Mhm.
storyline a little bit.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was an experience.
It
I
was
don't
an
know what else to
experience.
say, really.
Yeah, for me, I thought the film would have been much better if it was like partly a spoof or parody of Harry Potter or other fantasy films, because that's one of the things about those types of movies. Like, there are no black people in them. Like in Harry Potter, there's like one black kid in all of Hogwarts in the background with a nappy afro, right? Like, there's sort of like no black representation in these magical fantasy films. So why not go all the way with this one? Like, I was expecting to see black people on brooms flying through the air, shooting fire out of their hands, having wizard hats and stuff like that. It would have been cool if they did that, but the movie just sort of became like this rom-com office drama, and I was like, blah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot more romance than I expected.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and the thing about the romance in the film, it doesn't feel like there's no spark or chemistry. You know what I mean? Like, the problem with like the main character's name, I forgot his name, Aaron, right? Aaron's character is like not very charismatic, very awkward, and I know that's how it's supposed to be. Like, when Harry first got his magic powers, he's like an orphan who has to live under the staircase in his abusive step parents' house and stuff like that, and then he sort of gains his confidence as his powers grow. But Aaron sort of stays like this weak, feeble, kind of loser-ish character throughout the film, and he doesn't have that evolution after getting his powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like at the very end, we see him being a bit like, more charismatic. But yeah, for me, it's like the main character was a bit passive, like you said.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, my dislike for this film doesn't really come from, how can I say this? Well, I do have a problem with like the whole idea, the whole premise is very problematic and triggering. But the biggest problem with this film is that it's just not very good and very convincing or very moving. You're watching it sort of like waiting for it to end by the time the 40-minute mark hits.
Yeah, like when I saw the title, The American Society of Magical Negroes, I didn't really actually think they would take this like magical Negro character from the society
Mhm.
and then put it in the movie. I
Mhm.
thought it was going to be like actual magic people, you know what I mean?
Right, right. Well, let's break that down because people might not know this trope. Like, there's a stereotype or a caricature of black people in film that is called the magical Negro, right? And this was termed by film critics, mostly black film critics, who noticed that in a lot of films, like in The Green Mile or in Shawshank Redemption, the black character seems to exist solely to sort of help the white character reach realization, to grow and develop, or to become a better person. And the black person never sort of confronts the white character on their blatant racism or their part in systemic racial oppression of black people. And that this film sort of like turns this idea on its head. Like, instead of this being a bad thing that in film or in media or in society in general black people are expected to help white people, they say this is something that black people willingly accepted as a role in society to sort of keep the peace, because black people know how dangerous white people can be if they are uncomfortable. And when white people become uncomfortable, it's the duty of black people, in this case, magical Negroes, to sort of keep the world from burning, which is problematic in a way. But what do you think about that? Like, what did you think about, the whole idea of magical Negroes as it starts off in the beginning of the film where they explain it and things like that?
I actually was like, okay, like I didn't know this was where it was going, but when I first saw like the writings in the beginning and stuff, I thought the society would be against that and not for that. So that was surprising, and it was like after some time, like this guy Roger,
Hmm.
the guy played by David Allen Greer,
Hmm.
he was like convincing the main character Aaron like to join the society because this is the only way to save black people and all of those things. It
Hmm.
was like getting disturbing because
Hmm.
I was like, what, okay, where does this movie going? Like, why is the society based on this idea and not like fighting the idea?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that was a bit like off-putting.
Yeah, like the film could have been a bit more interesting because, like, in like Star Wars, right? There's like the Jedi who want to use magic for good to help the universe as they see it, and then you have the Sith who are like, we want to use our magic to, gain power and do whatever we want because that's the point of having magic, right? Or like in the X-Men, you have Charles Xavier who wants to, bring peace between mutants and humans, and then Magneto, who is like, humans are naturally evil, they'll never accept us. Maybe even in Harry Potter, right? And you know more about Harry Potter than me, but I feel like, Dumbledore and all the wizards of Hogwarts are like, we used magic to sort of help mankind. And then there's others like, I guess, Snape or Voldemort, who are like, we use magic for evil or whatever, right? Is that right for Harry Potter?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Right. So it could have been a more interesting film if maybe there were like two societies. Like, there's the Society of Magical Negroes who want to, coon it up, who want to just help white people, and then the society who is like, no, we want to tear the system down. You get what I'm saying? What do you think about that if it went with that angle?
Yeah, I mean, maybe at the end, Roger and Aaron could have joined forces together and founded a new society or something. At
Yeah.
least, I don't know, but yeah, that would definitely be like more interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. But let's walk through the story a bit. So basically, the movie opens with this guy named Aaron, very skinny, very frail, light skinned black man who's in a room full of white people at this art gallery. And he's staring off at this room full of people, and he seems very distant. He then walks up to his art piece, which is basically a collection of yarn on a string, and he's trying to like sell it to people, but they're just saying like, "Is that yarn?" And like their face is like full of like disbelief that somebody could be this untalentless, like have no. and so and so Aaron's boss, the art gallery boss, is like, you need to sell your art. And he goes up to some rich white man, and the rich white man hands him his empty champagne glass and is like, "Thank you." And so Aaron's boss gets pissed because the white man was racist to Aaron for thinking he works there, and gets Aaron fired. So Aaron throws out all of his yarn, but one of the old black men that was there at the art venue sees him and starts following him outside. Aaron goes to walk to some like ATM and tries to take out cash, but he has like $17 in his bank account. And I don't know if you know this, Acti, but in the US, you can't take out less than $20 from an ATM. So he doesn't even have enough money to like take out. And as he's walking away from the ATM, this white girl who seems drunk comes up to him and is like, "Can you help me use the ATM? I can't, figure it out." And as he's walking up to her, she's like so drunk she forgets that her card is in the ATM. She yells to her boyfriend, "Somebody stole my credit card! Somebody stole my purse!" And Aaron is there holding the purse because she handed it to him, and her boyfriend is about to punch him, but then the guy at the bar meets Aaron there and is like, "Hello, can I help?" And the purse is magically not in Aaron's hands, but in the girl's hands, and he sort of diffuses the situation. What did you think about like that opening scene, everything that happened, all that?
I mean, first of all, like I also think of myself as like this sort of like not passive, but I do want to be friendly with everyone. I don't want to like hurt anyone and stuff like that. I do go along with a lot of people in general in my life.
Hmm.
And but like not that, not Aaron, because he was annoying me. Like by the time he went to the ATM and he was like with the girl, and the
Hmm.
girl is like, "Somebody stole my card." I'm like,
Hmm.
"Bro, just speak up. You're gonna get like jumped on or something. Like please say something."
Yeah.
So like his passiveness was a bit like, I don't know, unbelievable at some points in the movie, or
Hmm.
it was just like annoying. Cause yeah, and I really hate that like sometimes about the characters,
Hmm.
that they like are so like so insanely passive, and I feel like maybe okay in real life that's not that believable. I don't know. I mean, of course there are people who are passive, but yeah, not when you're gonna get beaten up. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like it's a survival instinct. There has to be something.
Right, right. My thing with like Aaron's passiveness at the beginning, I was like, I'm gonna give it a pass because that's how every one of these movies starts, just like Harry Potter. So I wasn't too bent out of shape about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else did you think?
Well, as far as the ATM part, the part about the ATM, this is the thing, right? Like in these films with like these black characters having these sorts of situations with like the dominant society or white folks, right? Like there's supposed to be these moments where you're watching it as a black person where you're supposed to like, "Oh yeah, I know that feeling," or you can sort of see how this can be a bad thing, right? And so like him walking away from the ATM dark late at night, some white girl is there too, right? Me as a black man, I'm already thinking of the worst case scenario, like I need to get out of here as soon as I can. Right? But the way this film is shot, it didn't really give me that dread or that fear. Like, you know how like in Get Out, like you're watching Get Out and like the part where he's, surrounded by all these rich old white folks and they're asking him questions about his body or his age and stuff like that. You're like, okay, this is weird. I need to get out because you get the feeling, right? This one, I didn't get that feeling from the white girl at the ATM until at the very end. I had to sort of remind myself, like, oh, that's what the film is trying to do here. You get what I'm saying?
Mm, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't that like tension filled. I guess
Yeah.
that's first scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Didn't really.
I just felt bad for him generally.
Yeah. Yeah. But basically, moving on in the story. So this older black man that comes to him, I forgot the character's name. Do you remember Roger?
Roger.
Yeah, Roger. So yeah, Roger is like, I want to give you a job. Basically, it's a client services job, and you can make good money. And Aaron is a bit hesitant at first, but Roger makes him disappear. He puts his hand on his shoulders and transports him to some black barber shop. They walk into the barber shop, and Roger shows this magic pocket watch, and he walks through the back door of this barbershop, and he's entered into like basically this underworld of the American Society of Magical Negroes. There's this black woman there giving a speech to all these other black people here who are sitting down in the class, and she's like, "Welcome. Maybe you too can be a part of our society." And she starts showing images or recreations of famous like movie scenes of magical Negroes. So the first one, I forgot exactly where it's from. I don't know, but basically this white guy is playing pool, and this black man is like, you lost your stroke. You need to get your stroke back, and hit the balls right on the billiards table. And then they go to another scene from the from the Green Mile when the main character has to grab. I believe that's Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is in the Green Mile. So before the main character dies of the Green Mile, he grabs the white man's crotch to bless him so that he can have children with his wife before he's executed for a crime he didn't commit. And so then all the people are giving their opinions about these scenes on why these magical Negroes were successful. And Aaron is just sitting there in awe, right? And yeah, what did you think about the introduction of the society?
Yeah. I mean, I was excited because I'm like, oh, okay, this is where the magic begins and all of that. And then, yeah, like when they started showing, like, I was expecting, stuff flying around, sparkles that coming out of like fingers or wands or something like that.
Mm,
And it wasn't like that.
hmm
But like the stories that they showed, I was like, okay, what the hell is going on? And I didn't know. I never watched Green Mile, so I didn't know that that scene was from that. But I
hmm
asked, and you said that's the Green Mile.
Yeah.
And then I said to myself, okay, maybe I'm not gonna watch Green Mile. But yeah, it was something. But
hmm
yeah, I was yeah, it was a bit like discouraging
Yeah. What did you
because
think about
yeah.
the main like the head of the American Society of Negroes? Because like later on, like Aaron is met. He goes into a hall, and this woman comes out, this big black woman, and then she starts flying in the air, and she says, "I am the head of Magical Society of Negroes. We help keep this world safe." And she starts talking about all the other, you know, famous black people in history, like real black people in history, not people from film, who were uncredited for their work. Like, this the people who helped sew the American flag, or the woman who came up with Aunt Jemima syrup and stuff like that. Like, what did you
Mm.
think of that scene?
I mean, it was okay. Like, I liked her in general. I like that, like, the head of the society was a woman. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have that much to say about it. I
Hmm
didn't know, like, I was guessing in my head, okay, like, are these people like real people or they're not? I was
hmm
thinking in my head, but yeah, I did get the feeling that they were like historical, figures.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know what to really think about that. I
yeah.
don't know. What do you think?
I was really hoping it was going to be Morgan Freeman. Like, nobody has played more magical Negroes than God himself.
Well,
So
we know why he turned down this movie.
I'm glad he did too. This would have been a
Yep.
blemish on his career. We would
Yep.
have. No, Morgan, no. You have enough money to retire, Morgan. Don't do it. Don't do it. But yeah, the thing, this is the biggest problem, right? Because in this part of the film, Aaron is coming up to Roger, and he's like, this society just doesn't seem like it's for me. I don't really want to do this. And Roger says to him, like, you've been around white people all your life. They've made you uncomfortable, right? And he's like, yeah, but I'm okay. I know how to do it. I know how to get around, right? And Roger takes him to like some police officer. He transports him back on the street to some cop who is like down on his luck and stuff like that. And Roger sits down with him and talks to him and finds out that this white man really just has problems with his daddy, like he has some severe daddy issues. So Roger invites him to the club later that night, and then later at the club, Aaron and Roger are standing there. And Rogers tells Aaron, if you don't have any problem with white people, go up into the club, right? And it's a club full of white folks. And Aaron, then the whole scene turns black. And honestly, this to me was like the best part of the scene, the best part of the movie, because the whole it's sort of like the sunken place, right? Because Aaron is staring at this club line and looking at the white folks looking back at him, and they're staring at him, and Aaron is just like frozen in that moment in time. And I can relate to that. I felt that before. Hell, I feel that every time I go out to the club, right? Like, I'm always worried, are they going to let me in? Are they going to find some excuse not to let me in because of what I'm wearing and stuff like that? Or are they going to say it's reservation only, stuff like that? So, I felt that line. But then when the cop comes, the white guy comes, Roger has to talk Aaron into comforting this white man who is freaking out about getting into the club. And then Aaron has to use the white man to gain entrance into the society, into the club he wants to go into. And I just found that, just kind of, it made me uncomfortable, made me feel weird. I don't know. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I like that scene too, where like the screen goes black and all of that. That
Mm-hmm.
was cool. Like it was a little bit of an insight of a black man's mind
Mm-hmm.
in the society, which was like a cool scene, and how they made it like it was nice as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you said, like I was thinking in my head, okay, I can understand that this society doesn't really fit Aaron's like perspective of being black, or being black in a dominantly white society and all of that. He clearly like says that I don't really feel like this as well or whatever, but he even cannot like stand up to Roger and say like, okay man, like this doesn't really fit me. But yeah, like the whole thing, once again, like this messaging that they're trying to give there was uncomfortable for
Mm-hmm.
me as well, because I was like, okay, why is like Aaron is going through with this? In my head I'm like, maybe he needs money,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't really have anything, I don't know, maybe that's why he's just going along with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah. Like this movie, how can I say this? Like the the issue with this movie is that it doesn't deal in it deals in black stereotypes, like the magical Negro stereotype, by not subverting it. It sort of embraces it, and that can be problematic for people. It's like if you made a movie about like all black people are thugs and criminals, right? And then the movie is like, yeah, there's a secret society of like thugs and criminals, and that's what we do. Like, well, that's what we're here to do. Like, no, let's not embrace negative stereotypes about us too. But what I think is even more bad or worse about this movie is that it plays into the stereotype, the worst stereotype about black people, the original stereotype about black people, the one that made the white supremacists do everything that they did to us, is that black people are servile, that black people are naturally serving to white people, right? Like before they created all the other negative things that they say about us, the first thing that they said is black people are naturally slaves, right? They're naturally meant to serve us. And because this movie just embraces that whole idea, it can be very hard to watch this movie because there's never a time in this movie where they try to fight against that until the very end, maybe ish, kind of. And yeah, that's what makes it hard. But there is some uncomfortableness in the truth that a lot of times black people do require whites to be with them to gain access into society, right? Because Aaron was not going to get into the club unless he was with that white guy who got in. So it's sort of like a weird conundrum that this movie sort of places Aaron, and how it sort of talks about these issues. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking all the time in my head, okay, this movie is a satire. Like, they're not really obviously embracing this idea, and there's going to be some turn or whatever. But for such a long time in the movie, they took this idea so seriously. and like all these black people who were in the society were so dedicated and happy and all of that. It feels weird
Hmm.
to see that. And yeah, I do agree with you. And I don't know, it also creates like a division as well, like between, you know, white people and black people. And
Hmm.
yes, there is a division, and yes, there are racist white people and all of those things, but at the same time, I don't know, it feels a bit weird that this society is like helping black people by being submissive to white people, but they also secretly like hate white people. I don't know, like it's so like problematic, the
Mm.
whole thing.
Well, tell me what you think as a white person or white looking person or white passing person, whatever you want to say, Middle Eastern person, whatever, non black person, whatever, whatever. Do you feel like this movie is racist? Because that's what a lot of white people are saying. Before I even look at the reviews, I know a white man's going to say, this movie is racist.
Wow. No, I don't think this movie is racist because honestly, for me, maybe this movie has a potential to do more harm to black people than to white people.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't think this movie is racist.
Okay.
And plus, like, let's be honest, it is like okay for white people to stereotype black people in other any other type of movies. So one time, like, white people get stereotyped as like the, you know, racist type. Not even like racist.
Not
They
racist.
don't.
They're
Yeah,
stereotyped as like crybabies.
yeah, it's like so sensitive that everyone has to make them feel comfortable so that
Hmm.
they don't hurt other people, they don't hurt black people.
Hmm.
Basically, so like not once in this movie they are called racist, really. No,
Yeah.
no white person is called racist.
Right, right, right.
So I think it should be fine as well. And I don't know, like, if white people are saying this movie is racist, then they are the white people in the movie.
Yeah, because they want to be made to feel comfortable, right?
Yeah, like, you know, take a joke.
Yeah. Take a joke, but also I would argue that this film does have some truth in it, in the idea that, there's a line Roger says where some of the last things that a black person sees is an uncomfortable white person, right? Think about every black person who ever got lynched, every black person who was ever castrated and sold into slavery. Like what they saw, the last thing was a uncomfortable white person who had to do something against black people or other people, not even just black people, to fix their uncomfortability. So I like that take on that, right? Because there is some truth. But
Yeah, I mean, there was like some very good social commentary here and
hmm.
there. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think like watching it as a non-black person, it made me like empathize
Hmm.
and made me like put the shoes of a, you know, black person a little bit, at least like from what I can, you know, feel.
Right.
So yeah, in that way it was like good,
Hmm.
but yeah, and there are other ways that it was bad.
Right, right, right. But it goes. This film also, talks about sort of like the humanism that is lost within Black people because we have to care more about what other people think about us than what we think about ourselves, and that's sort of like the conundrum, the problem that Aaron is in, right? Because every other person in the world will say, "Well, I don't care what other people think about me because that doesn't matter in my life," right? It's easy for other people to say that when they don't have to worry about getting shot or they don't have to worry about not getting a job or not getting the apartment or not getting the opportunity because of how they look. You get what I'm saying? But in this case, Aaron is sort of like the avatar for a lot of black people in the sense that we do have to worry about what white folks think about our hair, what they think about our tone of voice, what they think about, what job we have, who we date, where we live, and worrying about that before we worry about what makes us happy. And it's an interesting take because a lot of films don't explore that, which is I'll give the film credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a another scene later in the movie, and we'll, I guess, talk more about that. But yeah, it's like sort of like a naturally, not naturally, but forcefully developed survival mechanism because of how the society is.
Mm-hmm.
Because what most people would go for is to survive, like it,
Mm-hmm.
like that instinct to be alive, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, Black people do have to think about like other people, or mostly white people, and you know how they make them feel
Mm-hmm.
in order to do stuff in
Mm-hmm.
life, like
Yeah.
get into the clubs, or not being shot, or not being targeted by the police, or
Right. Right.
etc
Right.
etc.
Right. But, just to give my take on that question, because that is a big question in Afro philosophy. What should Black people do in a world that where our lives are dictated by other people's opinions? That's a very big question. It's sort of like the meaning of life question for Afro philosophers. I would say my answer is like to do whatever you want, because you can't they're still going to think the same. Like whether you wear the suit, whether you wear the tracksuit, whether you're naked, whether you speak proper English, whether you speak ghetto Ebonics, they're always going to think the same. So the point should be total freedom by doing what you want to do, right? You will still have to develop some techniques to code switch and change, right? So you go into the office and you will have to maybe add the ERs to the end of certain words, but you don't need to always be in constant fear of the white gaze. So that's just my take on that, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, like I think, like you said, you can make conscious decisions to not really give a f about, you know, what other people think, specifically like white people. But then there are also times where that survival instinct kicks in,
Hmm.
and not like specifically, like, you know, humans are social beings and we want to be accepted by the people around us, and
Hmm.
that's where that like code switching, or you know, whatever, that kicks in, and you do like have to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And I don't think like people, Black people, should be like you know, judged because like by, I don't think like Black people should be judged because of that, because once again it's survival instinct.
Right. 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 We should judge this society, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Like,
it should be white people's job, or it should be taught to white people not to make Black people uncomfortable.
right. Right.
Because yeah, like
Exactly, because for example, the Texas school that says this kid cannot go to high school because he has dreadlocks. Now, in that case, the Magical Society of Negroes would come in and try to, convince the white folks that, they're right, that they're right for not doing that. But, we should be changing the society so that a kid can go to school with dreadlocks and not, be suspended or expelled just because of his hair. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. I feel like most like white people think it's okay if they just don't use like racist words, or if they are not racist, and if they just like accept everybody and all of that. But I think there should be an additional effort to, you know, um to embrace like Black people in our society, because of like all that is happening still now,
Yeah.
like that burden.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry for everybody listening who feels like we went off topic of the film, but this is a central question of the film, and so that's why that conversation had to go on for so long. But just to make up for that, the rest of the film is kind of there's nothing else really to break down because after this point, basically, Aaron gets a job with the American Society of Negroes. He's sitting at a cafe one day. He bumps into some girl and he spills her coffee. He's waiting in line with her, and he's awkwardly like flirting with her by saying he was checking out to see if she had coffee on her, but not checking her out like that. Whatever, whatever. He finds out her name is Lizzie, but then he has to go because he has a job, his first job with the American Society of Negroes. So he goes to this company that's like Facebook in this film. It's called Meatbox, and he's there to help this white guy who basically is a designer here, but his designs are not working, and he's having a lot of frustration. And his frustration levels are so high that he was about to do something very bad. And Aaron's job is now working at Meatbox with this guy to help him get on track. Aaron then finds out that Lizzie, the girl he bumped into at the cafe, works at Meatbox too, and he finds out that the white guy he's working with, is also in love with Lizzie. So then the film then becomes this sort of like love triangle between Aaron, the white guy whose name I forgot, and Lizzie. Yeah, is that about right, Acty?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. There's also a little bit of commentary about racism in the tech space because this company, Meatbox, the founder sort of alludes that he hates black people because he says, like, I don't hate the entire country of Ghana. I'm not a racist. Sometimes I serve African food at the employees' offices and stuff like that. So there's like this weird sort of mini commentary about racism in tech. Also, the company's technology is in the news because the facial recognition doesn't recognize black people. But that's not like a central part of the film. But what did you think about the remainder of the film basically being this love triangle, Lizzie and Aaron and blah blah blah?
I think like during this part, what the film did good was that how easy to justify like racism sometimes, or like discrimination in the workplace and stuff like that. Because, for example, when Aaron and the other white guy, I don't know what his name is,
Yeah,
but Jason, I don't know if it was Jason,
something
but
like that.
anyway, well, like they're having conversations and stuff like that, and like he says like he's gonna present the new like project of the company and stuff like that, and he says things like okay, I earned it and no one that looked like you didn't earn it, so
Hmm.
how does that make me racist?
Hmm.
And things like that. Like it's not like the excuses and stuff like that, and how it makes black people feel, or how it's like unjust
Hmm.
actually when you look at it. And like, okay, it's not the fault of that white guy that he earned the place, of course, but he can do something to include other people.
Hmm.
It's not like he's powerless.
Yeah,
So yeah, like I think they did a good job in those areas, like
yeah.
in this part of the movie, that those like sneaky commentaries, like this white guy is basically like friends with a black guy, right? But
Hmm.
he still has like that sort of I don't know, like white mentality that
Yeah.
doesn't that still excuses like the you know non-achievement of black people. I don't know like how to put this,
Yeah,
but
no, no, no. He has obliviousness. He has a
yeah.
blindness, a social blindness, because he's never had to think about these things or worry about these things. So therefore, the way he looks at the world is like everybody gets exactly what they earn, and if you didn't get it, tough luck to you. There's no extra advantages to anybody because they're a man or white or from this nation or have this religion. None of that ever exists. Everybody sort of gets what they get now, right? And he was actually talking that conversation between Aaron and Jason. By the way, his name is Jason. That conversation happened because Lizzie created the design that is making Meatbox successful, but Jason gets picked to do the presentation to the boss for it, right? And so, yeah, Aaron is speaking to Jason like, hey, maybe you should invite Lizzie to give the presentation with you. But Aaron is like, no, I want you to do it, and he's very cagey as to why he wants Aaron to do it, but he doesn't express that. But yeah, that's when Jason goes into this whole speech about people get what they want, people get what they deserve, and stuff like that. So yeah, it was very cool how they did that scene, and that was one of the scenes that sort of brought Aaron closer to breaking out of that shell and being able to confront white people about the issues that are going on.
Yeah, and they also like the scene where Aaron, Lizzie, and Jason, they're having beer, and then
Hmm.
Jason says something like so dumb,
Hmm.
and once again, like he's oblivious to this like racial discrimination in the workplace or something like that, I think.
Hmm.
And like, but Aaron's job is to make him feel comfortable.
Hmm.
So he says stuff like, no, I know you didn't mean it like that. It's okay. Like, I know you have a good heart, da da da. And like Lizzie agrees with Aaron, but then
Mhm.
later when Aaron and Lizzie are talking, she says like, I should have said something,
Mhm.
and this feels wrong and I didn't say it. I thought of saying it, but I didn't do it. And I kind of like, um I don't know. I kind of like resonated with what she was saying, because there were times where I was like, okay, well, I'm thinking about saying things, but I don't say it.
Mhm.
And why don't I say it,
Mhm. Mhm.
And there were times that I felt like guilty of not speaking up, because I do have that privilege to speak up.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, yeah, I felt that.
As a woman, how do you analyze, Lizzie's character, from a feminist perspective? Like, did you like her character? Do you feel like, you know, anything? How do you interpret her?
I mean, yeah, she was cool. Like, she didn't. She was a successful woman. Like, there was that scene where the boss lady Masterson. She goes up to Lizzie and says like, "Okay, we know that you designed the logo, but we're gonna give the pitch to, Jason, the white guy."
Hmm.
And yeah, I just wanted to let you know, like, we like you and we love your work, but you're not gonna be like, you know, in power, or
Hmm.
you're not going to be upgraded and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So that part was a bit hurtful,
Hmm.
but I don't know what would I do in that situation. I would probably also be like, okay, I guess like I have to go through this, or I
Hmm.
have to like hang on a little tighter or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked her in general, except the end, which we will look at it later, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, we're about to get
Very
to
end.
that. Yeah, my thing is, Lizzie was cool. She was just all right as a character, likable, I guess. But I feel like, she was just put there as a plot point rather than, somebody who's going to like really, make a statement in this film. I feel like there were more statements made about her than actual, statements from her. You know what I mean? Acting was good,
Mhm.
but I just feel like that chemistry once again between Aaron and Lizzie is just so like there's this scene in the film where they're like walking in the park and having this like pseudo date, you know what I mean, and they're trying to flirt with each other and they're about to kiss, and I was like, this scene is so long. I was watching the film with you and I was like, please end this, make it stop. Like it's sort of torturous to watch them be on screen together.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Once again, like, she was a bit passive too.
Hmm.
Like when it came to their relationship with Aaron,
Hmm.
because it was like, okay, they like each other, but then what is she doing? And
Hmm.
I feel like, if for me, if I was like, like if I liked someone and I got the signs that he liked me, I would like, if we're at that point, I would say something,
Hmm. Hmm.
or I would
Yeah.
do something. And she was like that, passive again. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, the chemistry was like, okay, like it wasn't like sparks.
Yeah. Moving on a bit. So Lizzie and Aaron are about to kiss, even though Aaron was told not to kiss Lizzie because, a black male magical Negro cannot fall in love or take the wife or the girlfriend of the white man or white person that they're trying to comfort, right? And there's a funny line where Roger says, I told you this, Aaron. Now I have to go back to driving this old white lady around, like an allusion to driving Miss Daisy, which was pretty funny. But Aaron is about to kiss Lizzie, and then he gets transported back to the society because there's an emergency now. All the magical Negroes across America have lost their powers. They're grabbing crotches, and nothing magical is happening. And so yeah, the boss lady has to climb on a ladder and tell everybody who broke the rules, and Aaron is about to raise his hand, but there's a woman in the back who raises her hand, and she's a researcher, and she says, I had to tell off my white coworker because he didn't read the research paper ever, and then I had to call him some swear words, and everybody's just aghast, they're shocked. And so then the headmistress, the head wizard lady, she says, "You're banished from American Society of Negroes, and you get the worst punishment of all. You get to go back to being a regular black person," which is kind of, I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of funny. That was kind of funny. But yeah, basically, if any of the magical Negroes break any of the rules, it makes all of them lose their powers. So this is the dangerous game that Aaron is playing now. What did you think about that scene and everything?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like funny how they made it seem like it was something so tragic to be a regular black person
Hmm.
in the country.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I don't know, like it was cool, I guess. And I'm glad that they added that extra step because now we had like Aaron, okay, struggling with, and they also erased their memories.
Yeah.
And here, like I don't know where it was exactly, but I guess after this one, Aaron
Hmm.
goes to like this sort of archive
Hmm.
where they store all the moments of magical Negroes and
Hmm.
how they helped white people and stuff like that. And he
Hmm.
finds like Roger's memory or something,
Hmm.
and he plays it. And apparently like Roger was in one time the same place where Aaron is. Like he fell in love with a girl, but another white person that he was helping also fell in love with her, so he
Hmm.
had to let her go.
Hmm.
And they have like that talk there, which I think was sort of like cool. Like how they were talking about like regrets, right?
Hmm.
And Aaron says like, don't didn't you regret it? And he tells the story about his father, which was like, yeah, that was heartbreaking.
Go ahead, tell
And
the story.
yeah, okay, so basically he was a little kid, Roger, and he loved his father. And one day his father was a shoe shiner, and one day like he went out to see his father, and he was like running to him, so excited to see him. And his father was shining the shoes of a white man, and as he was running to him, white man like spit on his father's head. Like the white man spat on his father. And the little Roger saw this, and he was like so shocked and frozen. And his dad, and he thought, okay, my dad is gonna like kick his ass. But instead his father like wiped the spit off and smiled at the white guy.
Hmm.
And Roger was so disappointed, like he went home like so angry with his dad. And his grandma was there, and he told us what happened to his grandma. And his grandma said like, don't be mad with your dad, because the reason why he's alive and coming back home today is because he did that.
Hmm.
So then Roger says, and that's why like I don't have any regrets, because I survived,
Hmm.
and I'm like surviving and stuff like that. So that was like the story
Hmm.
basically. And I thought that conversation was like interesting,
Hmm.
with related to like that, almost kissing thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that
What
was
did
a
you
very
think?
powerful scene. That was a moving scene for
Yeah.
real. Which is, this film once again is based in some truth. Like black people have to do certain things to survive. But I hate to use the argument like it's a different day now. Like we don't have to smile when white people spit in our faces or say racist things or commit aggression against us. We can now fight back. Like we're in the age of fighting back and defending ourselves, not grit and bear it. So I know the film is trying to root itself in that sort of struggle, but I feel like we don't need that now. We don't want to see that now.
Yeah, but exactly. Now like all of those milestones that, a lot of black people paved until
Mhm.
today contributes to now what you can do.
Mhm.
And in order to fight that sort of behavior, in order to fight racism. So
Yeah,
I agree with you.
yeah, yeah. So basically, finishing up this story, at the end of the day, there's a big presentation that Meatbox is doing to try to rebrand, to make people stop calling the company racist, even though their facial recognition is not working in Ghana, which is pretty funny. And there's the
Ghana
Masterson.
Gate.
Pardon, what'd you say?
Ghana Gate.
Ghana Gate, yeah, that was Ghana Gate. The app won't open in Ghana for some reason. But yeah, Masterson. By the way, I just now got his name and the meaning. Master son, get it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not get that.
Yeah, Master Son, the owner of Meatbox, is giving this virtual presentation to an empty audience to all of the employees on Zoom because he says that there's a study that says people work better on Zoom and people in large crowds do crazy things like form unions, which I thought that was funny. That was pretty funny. There's a few lines in here that are funny. But yeah, he's giving his presentation, and Roger is about to go on stage, and Aaron is still trying to convince Roger, like, "Yo, you should let Lizzie on stage." But then Roger reveals the real reason he wants Aaron to come with him. He says, "I would need you here, Roger, because we want to show the company is diverse," or something like that. Basically saying we need Roger's black face in this case to help the company, get over this. So this is like the ultimate test for Roger, I mean for Aaron as a magical Negro, to how far he will go to help this white man, get back on top. And Aaron and Roger start yelling at each other. Lizzie is there too on the stage, and she's watching all of this happen. And yeah, basically, Aaron goes off and says, what you said was, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. And then Roger says, I'm not racist. And then Aaron goes off like, I did not call you racist. Why do you take it like that? And just, they have a very, very long like argument. And Aaron sort of like purges all of his feelings, all of the things that he's been holding inside. Like, I'm scared to be alive. I have to always worry about what you guys think of me and stuff like that. You don't know what this feels like. And so then Roger is taken aback, like, bro, I didn't get that, man. Whoa. And all the white folks there are just shocked. And then yeah, Aaron and Lizzie disappear. Uh, Aaron transports Lizzie to the top of the Empire State Building in New York City, and they have a kiss. And then he like transports back to the American Society of Negroes. He gets banished, and Roger tries to erase his memory, but something isn't working because now all the American Negroes, or some of them, are like starting to talk back to their, white people that they're partnered with. So that means, Aaron gets to keep his powers because now he's changed the dynamic of the society. Lizzie catches a plane, then catches a bus, then catches a train back to LA, meets up with Aaron, they kiss, they walk into the sunset, and we find out that Lizzie is actually a part of a secret society of supportive wives and girlfriends, or So Swag. And that's the end of the film. What did you think about everything at the end? How did you feel? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Aaron's speech because it was like, he had a personal revelation there finally,
Mhm.
and he was like able to say what he was thinking. And yeah, once again, like this conversation between a white guy and a black guy, and how like white people get so defensive about, when black people says, okay, this bothered me that you said that, and everyone is like, I'm not racist, I don't have a racist bone in my body. Nobody said you were racist. Like that dynamic was cool.
Mhm.
And also like, while that was happening, like the other two like white bosses, the owner of the company and also like the boss, they were like trying to save the situation and stuff like that, and the owner of the company was actually like, okay, let it play out, see, this is the type of conversations we have in our company. And yeah, that also got like gave it, a bit of a symbol of like that white supremacist capitalist
Mhm.
boss that would take advantage of anything really.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and like after he said everything, the fact that the guy said like, oh, like I didn't know that, I didn't
Mhm.
know how you felt. I really liked that response because it was hinting a little bit that sometimes, not in every case, but in some cases, like we do have that miscommunication
Mhm.
between us. And yeah, the reason why there's miscommunication is because black people are in that survival mode, code switching, et cetera, and because they're like, um they want to be like understood,
Mhm.
and most of the time white people don't understand them, but yeah, there can be like people who do understand them and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was cool. And Yeah, like the ending was okay, I guess.
Now
That whole like,
you were pissed that Lizzie got left in New York.
yeah, like that was kind of unnecessary. But yeah, I guess it was like like a message to what they were talking about before and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. Like I was glad that like Aaron's memory couldn't get erased.
Hmm.
I was hoping a bit more from Roger. Like
Hmm.
at the end, he would say something nice or smart or whatever. But yeah, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was disappointed that Lizzie was a part of the So Swag, Supportive Wives and Girlfriends Association,
Yeah.
because I'm like, whoa, that just
I,
killed everything.
I think okay. I think they were trying to set it up for a sequel. But how do you feel about if there was a sequel, the So Swag Society?
Oh, if it's gonna be like this, I'm not gonna want to see it.
But yeah, the ending. You know what? The ending is interesting because it's sort of like giving this hint that okay, women sort of have to sort of do the same thing like black folks have to do, like with around the white men that they birth or that they marry. A lot of the times they have to keep their anger or keep their comfortableness in check and deal with their BS as well. And I think the film opens the door for many other groups of people to analyze their relationship to like the dominant society and like how they interact with them. You get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I thought that was interesting. The big fight between Aaron and Roger, it was frustrating for me because I was like, like, yeah, like we want to have this big climax and stuff like that, but the film didn't feel like it was building up to this climax, and it sort of like came out of nowhere. Like imagine like the line is flat the entire time, and then it just makes this big jump where Aaron just has to explode and just seem like a crazy person because what everything Aaron was saying was right, but the way it came out and the way it was done, it made him seem crazy. You get what I'm saying? And trust me, I'm a black man who's had those explosions at the office before. Like I was working in an office and I was the only white black person there, and there was nothing but white folks there, and they kept on saying nigga, like nigga as in what's up my nigga, or damn them niggas crazy, or damn nigga we gonna make a lot of money today. And I'm like, bro, you are Colombian, you are Brazilian, and you are from Mexico. Shut the fuck up. Like, you get what I'm saying? I'll never forget that. And I went off on the office one day. I was like, stop saying nigga in the office. And next day I was not in the office.
Wow.
They got rid of the nigga in the office.
Wow. Just so they could say it.
Just so they could say it.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I've had explosive moments like that before. But yeah, it's not the way to do it. You know what I mean? And yeah, like you brought up Masterson sitting there. I didn't think about that until you said it. But yeah, he's sitting there taking advantage of the divide and the beef and stuff like that. But it didn't seem like it resolved anything. And as far as Lizzie and Aaron's, walking off into the sunset together, I was just like, whatever. Like, I guess he gets the girl at the end, but uh, I don't know. I don't know. This is the one time in the movie it would have been better had the girl been black, right? Like I feel like it would have made a bit of difference. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's a controversial point. I don't know if you're going to attack me on that, actually, but I feel like this film would have been better, if Aaron was in love with a black girl instead of, Lizzie. Lizzie.
I don't think it would have mattered really.
Mm,
But yeah, I mean the whole thing was that Aaron being in love with the same girl that with the guy that he was supposed to help.
hmm.
So I don't think it would have mattered like whatever she was from. And I thought she was white in the beginning.
Yeah, but apparently she's like half white, half Asian.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she's white passing, white appearing. And, for me, I feel like if she was black, it would make, Aaron probably feel more comfortable. But it feels like, if Aaron has this permanent uncomfortableness around white folks, then, why is he pursuing this white girl? You get what I'm saying? And trust me, guys, you know who my wife is. But I don't feel like Aaron does about around white folks all the time. So I'm like, why is he doing this to himself? You get what I'm saying? And Lizzie didn't seem like she would have understood Aaron if he did start expressing himself about how he feels as a black man. But what do you think?
I think she would have understood it because it did feel like she was trying to understand it like before in the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. All right. But one more thing I have to say, this film missed a lot of funny opportunities. Like I was waiting for this part where Aaron was going to say, "I work for the Society of Magical Negroes," and then Lizzie was going to say, "Can I say that?" I don't know if I can say that. That's what I was hoping what would happen. And yeah, just so many magic moments too. Like a black man stopped by the police and he just makes the police like guns turn into like donuts or something. Like so many cool things that could have been done with this film of magical black people, but they just left it on the table. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like the scene where like the first time society loses its magic.
Hmm.
There's this guy like grabbing another man's crotch, like the one in Green Mile,
Hmm.
and then like it doesn't work. But then
Hmm.
afterwards, when Aaron like changed the society, the
Hmm.
guy like sits the other guy down and says like, I can't be the only one who's grabbing your dick. Like you have to grab my dick sometimes too. Like that was funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But overall, this is it's not even an entertaining film. I'm coming out there like saying probably this will be one of the worst films we've seen this year. It's a movie that tries to talk about blackness, but it still feels very white in its essence, and it's not doing anything revolutionary. Even though it has a revolutionary premise, it's not moving the needle for me. So I'm giving this like a 5 out of 10. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe like this is a start. Maybe there are like still some entertaining movies if you want to watch like a light movie.
Hmm.
Or I don't know, maybe if you're a white person who would like to understand black perspectives better, this is a fun movie to start with.
Mm.
I guess. I don't know, but don't take the wrong idea, please.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would give it a 5.5 as
Five
well.
point five. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit too high. I feel like I'm being generous just giving it a five. Yeah. Earlier this year, the worst movie we watched might have been like Bottoms, or I don't know. I feel like I'm forgetting the other one. Maybe I'm still gonna say Taxi Driver.
Wow.
But no, no, this is definitely up there. But who knows what else is coming up next? But yeah, that's really all I got to say about this film. You're not missing anything by not checking it out. You'll probably have a better time listening to our review of it than actually watching it.
Yeah, I mean, instead of watching this, you can watch, what was that movie with the Jesus?
Oh, Book of Clarence.
Book of Clarence, yeah, that's a better movie if you
Yeah,
do want to watch something like this.
yeah. With the most magical Negro of all time, Jesus Christ.
Wow, that was a funny joke.
All right, but yeah, that's pretty much it for this review. The Violator is here. Shout out to Violator. Thanks for sending all those movie requests. Thanks for sending love to us as well. And yeah, catch y'all next time for the next review of a film. I don't know what we have coming up next on the pipeline, but check out the other films on my timeline. And catch you later. Peace.